So now let's talk about the navigation tools, and most of the navigation in AutoCAD can be controlled using your mouse. So it's always recommended to use a 3-button mouse with left click, right click and scroll wheel with click function. But if you don't have a 3-button mouse and if you're using AutoCAD on a laptop, then also you can navigate your drawing using the touchpad. So I'll show you both the methods. So first I'll start with the mouse. Now, if you want to zoom any part of the drawing, just go to that, move your cursor close to that object. In this case, I'll move my cursor close to this refrigerator, and now I'll just zoom in like this. So this will basically zoom in my drawing, and now I'm rotating my mouse wheel in one of the directions and it's just zooming it in. Now I'll rotate my mouse wheel in opposite direction and it will zoom out, and the center of zoom in or zoom out will be the point where I put my cursor. So if I put my cursor here close to this window, now this part will zoom in or zoom out. Now obviously, for a touchpad, you won't see the mouse wheel, and if you are using touchpad, then you can simply right click and select zoom tool. Now click, which means left click, and move your cursor up to zoom in and move it down to zoom out. So on a touchpad, you can use this zoom tool. Also, you can use the navigation bar for zoom in and out, and this thing is called navigation bar. Now, if you don't see this navigation bar, go to this view tab and activate navigation bar from here. So when you check this one, this option navigation bar will show up. All right. Now on this navigation bar, we have the zoom tool right here. Click this arrow, which is right underneath it, and select zoom in to zoom your drawing, and select zoom out to zoom out your drawing. You can click on it again to zoom out even further, and also you can go to zoom in to zoom it in even further. We also have other zoom tools here in the navigation bar. For example, if you click this arrow, you can then select options like zoom object, and this will allow you to select an object. So in this case, I'll select this refrigerator and I'll press enter, and now it will zoom the selected object. It will fit it in the drawing area. Also, you can make a window and everything inside that window will be zoomed in. So for that, I'll go to this option again and I'll select zoom window, and now I'll make a window maybe here like this, and that part will be zoomed in like this. So these are some of the zoom tools that you can use. Now there is a zoom tool which you might end up using quite frequently, and that tool is called zoom extends. Now you can use zoom extends for situations like these. When you have drawing which is really very small, or maybe if you've made something and it's really large, it's not even visible in your drawing area, then you can fit your drawing simply by double clicking your mouse wheel, and this function is called zoom extends. So I'll double click my mouse wheel, and here it is. It will zoom your drawing and it will fit it in the visible drawing area. Now again, if you don't have 3-button mouse, if you're using touchpad, then you can go to this navigation bar, again the zoom tool, and select zoom extends from here, and again it will do the same thing. So it will just fit your drawing in the visible area. Okay, the next thing is pan tool. So pan tool is this. If you click and hold your middle mouse wheel, the cursor will change into this hand icon. Now this is pan tool. Now hold your cursor, don't let it go, and then move your mouse and your entire drawing will pan. So this is called panning. Once again, if you don't have the 3-button mouse, simply right click and select pan from the right click menu, and left click to select the pan and move your drawing. Again, you have the pan tool on the navigation bar, so you can select pan tool from here, and again you can pan your drawing just like this. Now here we have this view cube as well, and you can actually use view cube for navigation too. So on this view cube, we have east, west, north, south. That's the compass with all the 4 directions. And also we have a lot of other control points like these, and also we have home icon. So these things are basically related to AutoCAD 3D, and we won't discuss it here. If you want to know more about this view cube, check my AutoCAD 3D course. I've explained everything about View Cube and all the 3D tools there. Here, we'll only talk about these two arrows. So using these two arrows, you can move your view by 90 degrees. So if I click here, it will move my view by 90 degrees in anti-clockwise direction. And just by clicking here, I can move my view to 90 degrees in clockwise direction. So these are the only navigation tools from the compass that we'll use for 2D navigation. And that's all about navigating your drawing in 2D workspace. AutoCAD uses the very popular Cartesian coordinate system for making the drawings, and in Cartesian coordinate system we have x, y and z axis. Here we have this x-axis represented with a red line, the y-axis represented with a green line, and we also have a z-axis which we cannot see because we are in the 2D plane. The z-axis is pointing outwards from the screen right now. Now all the points in this Cartesian system are measured from this point, which is the intersection of x and y axis, or the intersection of x, y and z axis in 3D, and that point is taken as 0, 0, 0, and each 0 represents the x, y and z axis respectively. Now if you talk about 2D coordinate system, we only have x and y axis. So the first coordinate point will be the x-axis and the second coordinate point will be y-axis as shown here. Now if you could see the grids in this drawing area, you'll notice that I have divided this complete block into 10 grids in horizontal direction. So we have these 10 grids in the horizontal and 10 in vertical direction, and the size of each block of this grid is 1 by 1 unit. So the length and width of this block is 1 unit in each direction, and the size of this big block is 10 units in length and 10 units in width or height. Now in order to find the coordinate of any point with respect to the origin, all we have to do is find out its x and y values. So let's say that we want to find out the coordinates of this point. So all we need to do is count the number of x blocks and then number of y blocks. So in this case we have number of x blocks as 10. So after 10 blocks we can make a line that will intersect this point. Now after 10 blocks along y direction, if we make a line, it will also intersect the same point. So the coordinate of this point is x10 y10, and that will be 10, 10. Now similarly in this case we have this point, and the coordinates of this point will be 10 in x-axis, because after 10 blocks along x-axis we have this point here, and the y coordinate of this point will be 4, because after 4 blocks we have this point. So the coordinate value of this point will be 10, 4. Now that's the simple Cartesian coordinate system. Now if you want to use the polar coordinate system, then you can do that as well, and I've made a geometry here. Now this line starts from the origin and the length of this line is 10 units. This line is also inclined to an angle of 30 degrees. So if you don't want to specify the end point of this line in terms of Cartesian coordinate system and you want to specify it in other units, which is the polar coordinate system, then you need to represent the values as the length of line and the angle included here. So that will be the length, which is 10 units, and then the angle, which is 30. So this will be the value in polar coordinate system. So now we can represent this endpoint in terms of polar coordinates using this coordinate value, and we'll learn about this later on in this complete course.